Welcome to Shift, an exclusive podcast by DSN. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and this is where high-performing entrepreneurs and experts share their most powerful shifts in mindset, skill set, and strategy to help you accelerate your business and amplify your impact. I challenge you to be present, open your mind, and let the shift begin. Welcome to Shift. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and last week I really enjoyed our time with Anthony Napolitano. Such a different perspective from many of the guests that we've had on the show, probably because of his age. Someone who I couldn't believe sitting there listening to the wisdom and the journey and the experience is 29 years old, on the cusp of his 30th birthday right around the corner. But don't let that fool you. 11 years in the industry and someone who has achieved so much at such a young age, not only in his company, but recognized across the entire channel. And I loved the perspective that he shared and how much we covered in such a fast, rapid, concise manner. So if you missed the show last week, definitely go back and listen to our full conversation with Anthony. We talked about genuine relationships. We really hit on how he's managed to stay so consistent at such a relentless pace for so long. Balancing kind of the new school and old school. We got deep on the whole online, offline conversation from a unique perspective and really diving into what it takes to lead people today and age. And through his stories and his analogies and just sharing his experience, we got insight into his mindset, into the shifts that really are the operating system leading to the level of success that he has today, creating a ripple effect all around the world. So definitely recommend listening to the entire episode last week. But you know what this week is. Hey, this week, it's our shift summary. And I really want to take the time just to reflect and just pause for a minute and highlight some of what I felt were just paramount shifts from our conversation with Anthony. And for those of you that have been following the show, you get the format. Every other week we spend time in kind of long form interview style with the guests where you get a chance to hear their stories and their mindset and their skills and really the vulnerable access to their journey that we can draw inspiration, insight, and practical actions from. And then in our shift summaries, the weeks in between, you and we get our time together. I like our time together. I enjoy our time together. Really just to highlight and make sure that we're applying what we're getting. Because there is a difference between knowing and doing. And there's even a level after doing to where we've done it so much and so consistently, it's no longer even about doing, it's about being. And my mission with you as the guide here with Shift is to help you alongside the journey, collapse time in knowing, give you the inspiration and the systems for the doing, and stay alongside you as a partner, as a guide, as a mentor, until really these things become who you are as a person, not only to get you to where you want to go and the goals you have, but so you become a light, a ripple in the lives of other people and across our channel. That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. That's the work you're in the middle of right now, and I applaud you for showing up and plugging in. It's what it takes. It's what it takes, and you're doing that. So the first shift I want to talk about is really highlighting this theme of consistency and commitment. I know those are words that everybody just instantly writes off and we don't like talking about. Like, who wants to talk about consistency and commitment? But I valued how direct Anthony was on sharing what it really takes. When you have the lifestyle, when you have the results, it's so easy to share the end result and get people's attention by the lifestyle. But it's the real stuff when we're talking about what it really takes to make that happen in the climb, in the build, the journey along the way, not just the destination. That's the real stuff. And I love how Anthony shared a couple times, or in his own words, that, from the very beginning, for him, it was a long-term commitment. Long-term commitment that led to what people perceive as fast results. And I'll admit that, hey, under 29 years old, what he's achieved is phenomenal. It's easy to look at that and say, hey, wow, that was fast. And probably by more average traditional standards, it is fast for most people. But it was a long-term commitment that allowed the possibility to compress time or achieve what many would describe as faster results. And I want to just highlight that because it doesn't work the inverse. Everybody wants instant gratification. Everybody wants now. We all want it yesterday. And in the world we live in, the pace, the velocity, everything craving for our attention, all the things in our environment, we're battling this instant gratification issue. And we got to fight back with a reality. Because in my experience, when you chase the now, it doesn't come. And if it does come, it's fleeting. But if you make the commitment up front for the long term, you're here. You're unquittable. You will persist until the vision is casted out. You're going to allow yourself the time to get there. The irony, call it karma, call it the universal law, call it whatever your belief or faith or system is. But the reality is when we're committed to the long term, sometimes that accelerates our path to achieve it. But it only works that direction. You got to first start with a long-term commitment. And he gave us some real simple practical actions that can build to this long-term commitment. And it really comes down to mastering some daily routines, some repetition and rituals, taking personal self-responsibility for the simple things every single day. And I love how Anthony gave us visibility into his daily routine. He really broke it down in the whole conversation. I'm not going to repeat all of that, but I'm going to challenge you to find your rhythm in your daily routine. Create a structured daily schedule, as in use a calendar, as in specific time blocks for specific productive or income-generating activities, prospecting, product education, personal development, team building, whatever your buckets are they in a calendar? Are you blocking time? And do you have a rhythm in your day that allows you to consistently show up and execute a plan? Because when you do that, then we're able to set small, achievable goals and move toward those goals on a day-to-day or week-to-week or month-to-month basis. Very, very simple things that we can implement, simple to do, also simple not to do. So my question for you right now is, hey, are you committed to making a long-term decision, not going to quit no matter what? And then giving yourself the ability to stay consistent by leveraging daily habits, daily routines, daily rituals, until they really become just the norm of who you are and how you show up every single day. It's an amazing starting point. It was the key if you were listening to Anthony's journey, and I know you can do this and you can apply this and you can get similar results. So let's make the shift. Now, the second shift I want to talk about, this will be an interesting one because this will be a word either you're very familiar with or a word that's completely new, depending on your environment and the training you've had so far on your direct selling journey. And the word I want to highlight is edification. It might be the first time that word's even come up on our series of this show over a year. The power of edification. Now, for those that are new to that word, because it's not a word you generally use in kind of your normal day-to-day vocabulary, I'm going to simplify my definition of edification. Edification simply means speaking highly of somebody else. Kind of a simple thing, but if you really were to be honest, kind of a lost art today, just in the world. Like, how often are we speaking highly of each other? You turn on the media, you turn on the news, even gossip with friends. Like, generally, most people's average conversation is the opposite. We need more edification in normal conversations socially and professionally in the world, where we actually point out and highlight the amazing things about one another, the positive things about one another, the things that make each other great. Wouldn't the world be a better place if edification was the norm and not the opposite? But beyond that perspective or that vision of the world, it's a tool. And it's a very effective tool in business when you learn how to highlight what's great in others. You see, here is a core understanding. Most relationships are built on trust. Some element of it. Your relationships, even if they're acquaintances, let alone deep friendships, they have varying degrees of trust. You don't have relationships or keep relationships close to you if you don't have trust. So trust is the very foundation of most connection, of most relationships. So when you have some element of trust with your friends or social circle or peer group or contact list, and you take the time to genuinely and authentically, it's got to be real, this can't be fake, but talk highly about somebody else, your bond of trust now transfers some respect and authority to the person you're talking to about the person you're talking about. It's real simple. They trust you. You say they're great. There's going to be some element of that gets passed. And what happens in that beautiful scenario is now you're able to transfer a respect, a authority, and an influence to some degree to the person that you are edifying. So how do we use this as a tool? Real simple. It becomes a tool in the nature of your process, your steps, and it can be used at any point. Some people use this tool when it comes to the prospecting process. Maybe they hit a roadblock or want to move somebody forward, and instead of feeling like you have to have all the answers or you have to know everything, you can simply edify or talk highly about the people that you're working with, someone in your leadership team. And then connect your prospect to that person with now a new established trust and respect for that person to address their questions and move them forward. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes this is a great tool when maybe you're brand new and don't know everything. Sometimes this is a great tool even if you know the answers, just because taking the time to set somebody else up that can come in with an authority, even if they say the same thing that you say, sometimes they're in a position to move somebody further faster than you are with people that maybe you're too close to. I hope you caught what I just said there, because this is very powerful psychology. It's really a hack to human behavior, and it's something you can use in prospecting. It's something you can use when you're promoting events. Anytime you want to move somebody a little further faster, the answer is get out of the way. Edify somebody else and put somebody else in the position to help you do what you're trying to do for the benefit of that prospect or of that team member, of that person that you're in communication with. That's the psychology of it. And the beautiful thing about it is it's really simple to do. All you got to learn is to take a minute and talk highly about all the things that somebody is great at, and then bridge a connection with that person, whether it's a conversation or a Zoom or a text message. So some simple actions, and I love how Anthony actually took it a step further beyond the word or the concept of edification. He gave us his 5-step system of duplication. Now, in your company, in your journey, you probably already have your own method, your own system, your own steps. And if you have a set of steps, I always urge you to follow the set of steps that is relevant for your leadership team, for your community, for your company. But if you don't have a set of steps, or you need to learn some sort of model, it's good to have references or perspective. And Anthony's been doing this well and at a successful level. I love how he gave us his 5 steps. I think it's great perspective, and I want to highlight his system. He said 5 steps. Step number 1, we're going to set up a product or a service, become a product of the product. Use what you're passionate about sharing. I know that's obvious, but it's got to start there. There's got to be a real, authentic, genuine enthusiasm about what you are sharing. So it starts with that. Number 2, well, you're going to have some sort of list. I love how Anthony brought us back to people we have existing relationships with. He said by 18 years old, the average person knows maybe around 1,000 people by first name, acquaintances. Generating a list of family, friends, peers, acquaintances. A lot of these people are in our phone or on our social media, but it starts with having some sort of contact list we want to focus on. Step 3, mastering the invite, the invitation. This is skill-based. We learn this. There are words that work better. We need to communicate however we're approaching all of these people on our list, and that conversation is something that takes practice. We can master. We can get better at creating and giving compelling invitations to look at what we do. It's not about selling. It's not about closing. It's not about if they say yes or no, but it is about learning how to offer a compelling invitation to at least learn more. Step 4, edification. There's that word where everything we talked about falls in, setting somebody else up in a way to move somebody forward. And obviously, step 5, follow up, follow up, follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? A system to continue to follow up to move people forward. So edification, a skill, an art, get good at it, use it, and some perspective on a system you can apply to help us make the shift. Now, the third shift I want to focus on we got from Anthony was probably something that was very unexpected by most of us. We're looking at someone who's 29 years old, really the younger end of a millennial generation, almost to a Generation Z. And obviously, I could not go into the whole debate on online versus offline, social versus in-person, new school versus old school. This has been a trending theme in most of our conversations, as it is across the channel, of how do we bring these pieces together? And I love, from guest to guest, from leader to leader, we've gotten such a diverse perspective of things that are working. And I find it fascinating to learn what people are doing and how they're applying it to build thriving teams today. And I would have expected, maybe you did as well, someone 29 years old would have indexed more on the side of virtual, digital, social, technology. And Anthony went the opposite. He really took the time to re-emphasize what he focused on as fundamentals, highlighting the foundational practices that have been time-tested and proven throughout the years. Now, yes, he's an advocate of online social media. He gave us the tips, has the brand. A lot of his new conversations come from social, but it really came after focusing and learning on how to communicate directly with people you have existing relationships with. And how in his journey, he didn't even start with social media, which he looked at as an advantage because it challenged him to learn how to develop communication skills and learn how to build trust in conversations with people. And still today, he said most of his business is coming from real offline conversations. And that is what he's teaching to his team. Now, that doesn't mean he's ignoring social media. I brought up the conversation of document versus create. Documenting the building, documenting the activity, documenting what he's really doing as the example, and using that as a way to create more conversation versus starting with a social first strategy or mentality. Gave some great analogies about inventory and why his philosophy is to start with a warm market in real conversation while you learn to document and build attraction online. He also really went deep on the importance of live events. Yes, Zoom meetings, but also in-person live events, and establishing some sort of consistent rhythm of meeting practices throughout your organization. Again, mastering the basics, the foundation that has built this industry for decades. So I think this conversation is significant. I challenge you to figure out what your right blend is. I don't think we need to misinterpret or misunderstand. We're not saying go back only to an offline or an in-person, but I think we've seen a consistent theme, Anthony included, in a lot of our leader conversations on how these pieces come together in synergy, the power of online attraction with the power of offline in-person connection, the ability to reach the world through technology, but the ability to keep a retention in a community through real relationship. And those two pieces, in my opinion, need to come together in some way to create the maximum system, the maximum effort as we continue to grow in a digital age, in an age where technology continues to advance. So simple, practical actions we can take. Let's focus on, yes, have a social media online presence, have a strategy for attraction, and yes, have a proximity strategy, an event strategy, a relationship strategy. Get with your leadership, get with your community, figure out what blend is best for you. But some amazing insights from Anthony that is working today in a younger generation and excelling that I know we can apply to our business. So let's make the shift. So there you have it, some challenges for this week from Anthony Napolitano, a checkup from the neck up, a refocus on our consistency and our commitment. Make the long-term decision. Be unquittable. You're here until you reach that goal. And have some faith that by committing long-term, you're going to open up the energy for some acceleration. And take advantage of the habits and routines to start building that daily consistency. Edification's an art. Practice it today. Use it today. It's a brand new skill today. As you practice, you're going to get better. Use that system to move people forward throughout your team. And let's really focus on the fundamentals and find the right blend for you, for your community, for your team, of leveraging technology and social media, as well as real relationship and community, and how these pieces can come together in a way that only we can do. If you think about it, that only direct selling, community marketing can do. It's what separates us from the rest of the world. Is we're not just about the transaction. We're not just a sales force. We're really about creating environments where people can plug in and engage on a journey to become the best versions of themselves, to be around positivity, to be around energy, to have real connection and real community. And as technology continues to advance and evolve, I think the value of that stuff is just going to get higher and higher and higher, and it's what we do. So let's make sure we're taking advantage of what separates us when it comes to our methodology, our system, and our community to make that shift. So go re-listen to Anthony's episode if you missed it. For those that are new to the show, I urge you to catch up. We have had so many amazing guests. We are getting access to the best of the best in the channel from legacy respected companies, people that have been doing this for years or decades at the highest level that are achieving, growing, thriving in today's world. And they're here sharing openly, transparently, and vulnerably what is working, both the operating system, the belief system in their mind that allows them to excel, and the strategies, the systems, the tactics, the skills, the steps that it takes today to really separate yourself. So go catch up. You can find all the shows at shiftpodcast.com. If you love to listen, we're on all the platforms. If you like to watch, we're on YouTube. And every single week, we're dropping brand new episodes. Next week, new guest. Oh, they share an absolutely inspiring journey. You won't believe some of the things they had to face, and they really share what they did to overcome all of this insight and access to help you go further faster in your business and in your life. So turn on your notifications, make sure you're following the show, check back on Monday, and until then, let's make the shift.